Hello everyone. Today we will be presenting on the data integration topic of leveraging SAP data for advanced analytics in AZURE Synapse. My name is Matthew Hayes and I'm the VP of SAP Business at Qlik. I will be co-presenting today along with my colleague Dave Freriks, who will be handling the demonstration. We are honored to be guests of our technology partner, Microsoft, and always value sharing knowledge and best practices with our ASUG community. So let's jump in. Today we're going to be covering how to quickly and efficiently integrate SAP data in real time into AZURE Synapse Data Warehouse. Once the data lands in Synapse, we will organize the SAP data, prepare and publish it for use in advanced analytics and visualization tools such as Microsoft Power BI. Next, we will create visual dashboards to show how data can be presented in real time and demonstrate how you can create visual insights, even combining SAP data with data from non-SAP applications such as Salesforce. Our agenda today is designed to walk you through the journey, starting with understanding the value within the data running your business, looking under the hood to discuss the products and architecture, landing and operationalizing the data in Synapse, then finally putting it all together in an end-user scenario. As a baseline, let's discuss what your SAP data is doing for you today and every day. Well, it's running your business. It's processing your orders, moving inventory, paying employees, managing supply chains and manufacturing schedules, and maintaining critical company financials. It's actually very likely that your SAP application data is the lifeblood of your business. But what's going on in that data? Can it tell a story? Can you interpret the data in real time to make decisions on how the business is operating? Are there opportunities to create efficiencies, increase revenue, or create a competitive advantage? To do this, you have to have the data in the correct location, leveraging the most modern data and innovative solutions to analyze that data. With many of these innovations being cloud-focused, locating the data in real time becomes essential, as data can be greatly enhanced when combining relevant data from other sources. Machine learning models can create actionable insights, and results of decisions taken can be measured. So yes, your data is always moving, and it's always telling you the story of your business, no matter how nuanced. Raw to Ready is one of our taglines at Qlik, and we can't do that without our technology partners. Microsoft is such a partner, and in fact is our current Technology Partner of the Year for Qlik. Our ability to capture large volumes of data from SAP application for integration into Synapse has been a key focus for our partnership this year. So let's take a look at the solutions and technology architecture. I'm going to walk you through several architecture slides so you can understand just how we tackle the challenges of data integration and, more importantly, how we put extreme focus around SAP data. On the left of the screen, you see our various sources, our disparate sources. SAP application data is included, but we don't assume that that's it. Most of our customers not only integrate SAP data into their data warehouse, but they take data from other databases or other applications as well. So we stream the data, and we stream that data through pipelines and automation through Qlik Replicate, and we deliver the data into the target. So these are some of the different options you have in landing the data into Azure. If you're just landing the data in a commit-to-commit scenario, meaning you're just moving the data from source to target, that's a pretty basic requirement. And if you're just landing the data into ADLS or something really simple, you can do that. But if you're looking for something more robust, if you're looking to land the data into a structured data warehouse, Synapse would be the product of choice there. We call that a commit to model scenario. And the modeling means that we can commit the data from the source to the target, but we can also model the data with our compose solution. And our commit to conform is landing the data into the data lake. And that could be something like HD Insights, could also be ADLS, or even Databricks running on Azure. And finally, once we land the data into the target and we prepare the data for use, the data can then be consumed by end user applications. Of course, from a visualization and analytics standpoint, that could be Power BI. If you're using AI or ML modeling tools, we have a few here. And of course, any kind of data science that you want to perform on that data can use any of the data science applications. So let's talk more specifically about Azure. This is a slide that's very similar to the one that I just previously showed. Again, on the far left side, you have the different sources. The purple to the left designates our Qlik solutions, Replicate for data replication and integration, and Compose to organize and assemble the data marts and handle the data warehouse automation once the data is landed in the target. And again, here you see the different Synapse targets that we support today. You're also going to see in today's demonstration how we use Qlik Data Catalog to publish the data, and finally, how you can visualize the data using Power BI. So let's talk about SAP specifically. We've got an extreme focus around handling the complexities around SAP data. This began with our test data management product Gold Client, which is in the market today. Our Gold Client solution helps customers move data from production to non-production environments, meaning that we need to be able to very carefully move that data from the production system to a development, QA, or sandbox system. When we do that, we have to have a data model mapping behind it. This means understanding not only where data is stored within SAP tables, but how those tables relate to one another and how the document flow works. You can imagine this could get very complicated, but that modeling that we have that's existed in our Gold Client solution for 15 years immediately integrates into our Replicate solution. This means that SAP customers don't have to know exactly where data is stored. They don't have to run SQL traces or go digging for where the data is at. They can simply create a replication task and select a type of object, such as customer master, material master, sales order data, and the replication task will automatically be populated with the tables containing that data. We also handle a lot of the complexities of the SAP data, managing the pool and cluster tables, making sure that we can normalize that data for delivery into the target. Again, here you see the targets that we support on Azure. Interestingly enough, we're also certified for loading data into SAP HANA, and should you be running SAP HANA in Azure, we can support that as a target as well. This slide talks about that in a little bit more detail. One of the things that you'll notice here is that we can source data from either the application level or the database level. This is really important because SAP customers are not only faced with technical requirements, but they also have performance requirements and even licensing requirements as it pertains to their database licensing that they have for their SAP applications. We need to provide customers flexible options when sourcing data out of SAP. Of course, I mentioned in the previous slide, the pool and cluster and index tables. Those are very complicated structures in SAP where there's differences between the data dictionary at the database level and the data dictionary at the application level. And what we do is we normalize the data based on the SAP application dictionary object, and we deliver that to the target. So for something like a cluster table, we'll deliver the BSEG table to the data warehouse target and the data in the BSEG format, even though the BSEG table doesn't even exist at the database level. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to promote the data types. If you look at tables at the database level, SAP tables typically are stored with strings data types at the database level. In the application, you'll have more proper data types such as car, varchar, DATs, currency fields, time fields. And what we'll do is we'll actually make sure that when we deliver the table to the target, that we create those tables and fields with the proper data type designations. And transparent tables are pretty standard, pretty straightforward. But again, we handle the data type promotions at the field level. So I mentioned that we can source data from the application layer. For us, that means using SAP's extractor technology. You can see in this graphic that normally data is aggregated from the tables through the SAP extractors, and then normally that's used to deliver data into BW. What we're able to do is we're able to create a separate data source and then run those extractors separately, maintaining a separate change pointer. This means we can use the standard SAP extractors or even any custom extractors that you've built, but instead of delivering the data to BW, we can deliver the data to a temporary table, and Replicate can source that data again through the application layer and then deliver it to your Azure target. This is very interesting for a lot of our customers because it helps them connect to the application to source the data, avoiding the database connection altogether. It leverages technology that customers already use. It also allows customers to leverage custom extractors where they've already made an investment and continue to be able to use that to deliver data to the data warehouse. And finally, it helps you avoid having to source data from BW directly. Now this is a slide that our partners at Microsoft put together, and this is really nice because this kind of shows how it all works together. It's again a variance of the same slides that I've been showing, but it's a little bit more Azure specific and Azure focused. On the left, you see us being able to source data from different applications. Focusing on SAP, we can pull data through the application layer or the database layer using log-based change data capture. You can see that we've got the data model mapping already in there as well. And then other sources are represented, other databases, mainframe, data warehouse sources, and SAS sources. And then once the data begins its journey, you see it vertically represented on the left in that we do the DDL propagation, data loading, and change data capture updates through our Replicate software. And then across the top horizontally, you see the features that you get out of our Compose for Data Warehouse solution, which is the data warehouse automation. And you can see there the features that execute during that process. And in the middle, you see where the data lands in Synapse. You see the data land in the ODS schema. You see the data warehouse prepared with our Compose solution, and the ultimate result is the data marts. And then the data marts then can be consumed by the end user applications, whether that be Power BI, as you're going to see today in the demo, or through Azure Machine Learning, or any other end product. So what customers are seeking is not only delivery of the data and delivery of the data accurately and low latency change data capture, but they also want some details there. And for us, that means the metadata. And you're going to see this in the demo. The metadata is actually a key component here because we have to assume that the end user might not be an SAP user. Therefore, basic things such as the column or field text could be confusing to a user. Not everybody knows that BUKRS means company code. Therefore, we give you the option of renaming the column header to the actual company code text. To do this, we have to actually replicate the data dictionary text tables out of SAP and deliver those to the target as well. And in addition to the data dictionary text, we can also deliver the configuration text tables as well. Not only can we help you understand that BUKRS is a company code field, but the values within the data, the values within the tables might be confusing as well. Not everybody knows that company code 1000 is US, North America, California. What's the difference between company code 1000, 2000, 3000? Again, if we've replicated the text behind those configurations, we can give the user the opportunity to display that data in its stored format, in the numerical format, or the text format. One of the unique things you're going to see in the demo as well is that you can combine the SAP data with data from other sources. And in the demo, we've taken the opportunity to do that. We're going to show you sales order data combined with sales order data from Salesforce. So SAP sales order data with Salesforce sales data combined in a single dashboard. And one of the unique differentiators that we provide at Qlik is that we provide accelerators on the SAP objects, which means that we want to deliver Compose with pre-built models around some standard SAP business processes so that you can get a running start. So this can mean financial data marts or order to cash data marts. Again, all designed to give the end user a running start when operationalizing the data. So let's sidestep what we do and let's sidestep the technology and let's focus in on some customer use cases. I often say that no SAP customer is looking to replicate SAP data or provide SAP data into their data warehouse just for fun. They always have a vision. They have a need. They have some sort of tangible outcome they want to achieve. So we have two customer scenarios for you today. We have a large food manufacturer that uses SAP and uses our data integration platform for this. What they're looking to do is they're looking to optimize their supply chain through analysis of IoT data. And again, since this is a food manufacturer, that's actually farm data combined with weather data and then data from SAP. The actionable insights that they're looking to do is they want to modify the supply chain and schedules depending on the weather. Again, since it's farm related, a large storm over the Midwest that affects some of their farms might cause them to make some decisions in moving inventory or operations. Adjusting feed and water spend, which essentially is procurement for them based on the IoT data. If they can decrease those spends, it's going to generate a material cost savings for the business. Making adjustments to logistics based on IoT data and transportation metrics. Again, while moving product from one facility to the next, understanding the environmentals of the transportation involved could make a lot of difference in getting the product successfully from point A to point B. So the overall goals are either to increase inventory and reduce loss, definitely to improve quality, and create material efficiencies in the business. Stuff that's actually going to hit the bottom line. We have another customer that's a multinational retailer. They're looking to understand cash flow against revenue and create real-time visibility to other key financial metrics. So the actionable insights here are, especially in today's climate with COVID, is how is cash flow scaling based on increases or decreases in revenue? Can they understand their DPO or DSO, days sales outstanding, and how long does it take us to get paid? So how long does it take to get from when the order is created to when we receive payment from that customer? Are there delays in the delivery process that are affecting our ability to invoice on time? The overall goals here might be to identify and adjust efficiencies in the accounts receivable process or improve cash flow and identify opportunities for efficiency. So again, unlike the first example that's focused more on making the business more competitive and improving quality, this business is more focused on their cash flow and how the business climate of today is affecting their cash flow. All right, enough slides for today. We're going to jump over. I'm going to hand this over to my colleague, Dave Freriks. He's going to do a demonstration. He's going to take through everything that I showed you left to right. And I would encourage you to buckle your seatbelts because you're going to see a lot of functionality in the next 7 minutes. So take it away, Dave.
All right, well, thanks, Matt. So let's go ahead and take a look at what Matt was talking about in action. So we're going to go ahead and start with Qlik Replicate. This is the process of starting to get the data and moving it into the Synapse world. We're going to be able to get that SAP ERP data and start offloading it and moving it to modern cloud data warehouses, something like Synapse. So the first step is to go in and identify what we need. So if I go in and I go hit my table selection, I will see all the fields inside of the SAP system. Well, in this case, what we're looking at is not just tables, we're looking at the actual SAP extractors. So these extractors are a nice head start for us to get that pre-processed business logic that's used as the foundation of SAP BW, and we're able to pull that information in, which consolidates a lot of business process, a lot of business rules, and multiple tables into single extractors. Now, we still can, if we need to, we can still get the base tables, and we can go at the information from SAP that way, but for this orders to cash use case, we decided it was best to get the extractors. So the process is we come in, we identify the tables that we need, and we start the process of moving data and keeping it synchronized with Synapse or any one of the other Azure cloud databases. So we go, and now the data is being moved and it's being landed inside of Synapse. Now, that's just the start. Now we need to go to the process of actually modeling that information into usable data. And the first thing that we do is inside of Qlik Compose is we start this data warehouse automation project. So what we do is immediately after we land the data, we go and apply the business-friendly names. Not that everybody doesn't love shorthand German 5-digit codes, and a lot of users do, and that's fine, but we go and actually add in the business-friendly names that we've mined out of the SAP metadata tables. So it's whether I'm looking at created date ERDAT, I still have the ERDAT. If someone wants to look for ERDAT and use ERDAT, it's still there, but created on is better for a lot of more generic users. So we've done the process through all of these different entities to go ahead and do this renaming. Now that we've got business-friendly names in here, we're going to go ahead and start the process of modeling the flow. And this is where we start understanding how the data moves from SAP through SAP. So what extractors relate to which dimensions? How do the transformations happen? What are the relationships? And that's all created here inside of this data warehouse model. So we can see here now that we've got material. Material touches all of these different extractors, all these different fact tables, but it also needs to go and reference all of these text attributes. And we've built into here things like currency. We've built into here things like managing multiple languages. So this model is very complex, because it was built by our team of SAP experts. Now, that being said, it's very easy to modify for people that know SAP. Okay, so we've modeled the flow. Now we need to go and understand what we're going to do with it next. And the next step is to actually create a warehouse. And what we do inside of Compose is we generate all of the DDL and all the scripts to load the data and keep it synchronized. So that's exactly what we're doing here inside of this process. Once we have this data warehouse with all its hubs and it's managing all of the surrogates, it's managing all of the solely change dimension, all of the keys, it's doing all that for us. Now we need to go and actually create what the analysts are going to use. And this is where we come in and start creating data marts, subject-specific data marts that look a lot like info cubes, but they're a lot more simplified. They're a lot more modern. They're based on current design principles. So for example, we look at sales order line. It's going to be the sales document items surrounded by relevant dimensional entities. Now this is all of the transaction. This is all the information at the base level. But what we've also done is create what are called aggregate metrics. And these aggregate data marts are not only going to have the dimensionality, but they're also going to capture the KPIs, total net value, total number of orders, total ordered amount. So we're actually going to go ahead and pre-aggregate that information to make it easier for analytics users who are using SQL tools to come in and just get the KPIs that they need instead of having to build everything from the ground up. And we can actually set these to work together, so you can have essentially drill to detail type constructs with the aggregates back into the details. Okay, so now we've got these ready to go analytic warehouses. We've got the data marts that are ready for the analysts. What do we do next? Well, now is the process where we go in with Qlik, we start cataloging it. We go in and create this technical metadata catalog of all the data that we've gotten inside of Synapse. And we've profiled it, we understand its relevance, we understand its lineage. So let's take a look here at our order metrics, one of those aggregate entities that we just took a look at. So I went ahead and added to my cart, and we'll get back to that. But if I come in and look at my lineage, what I can see is this process flow of the fact that we've taken data from SAP, it's gone through replicate, compose into Synapse, it's run through some capturing and transformation information, and it's going to be pushed out to Power BI. Well, let's go ahead and do that part. So I can actually come now and say, hey, I've got some information. These are my sales KPIs. And I'm going to take this data set that I found interesting and push it out into Power BI. So we'll give that a second or two to run. I'll now go jump over into Power BI and take a look at my workspaces. And I'll hit the refresh button. There are my sales KPIs, and I can immediately come in and start building a report. So if I want to look at number of sold to customers, and I'll turn that into a KPI, I can do that. Go grab something like total discount amount, turn that into a KPI. So now I'm doing analytics on the data that I just immediately grabbed, cataloged, and are using as an interaction. Or I can actually take a look at a more complicated dashboard that I've built. And if I come over and take a look at that, this is an example where not only in that catalog did I grab my SAP data, I also grabbed my Salesforce data. And now I'm able to build out a Salesforce plus SAP data dashboard. And so I can actually not only see the what we sold, but the process of what it took to get us there to sell those things. So I can see top opportunities, where we're at with our different stages, how much we've won, what's still open, and compare that to our actual SAP metrics that we've captured. So this ability to combine information from the catalog or through Compose and get that information loaded from Replicate is what ties it all together. All right, so that was just a real quick example of orders to cash plus some additional Salesforce data that we took a look at in this example. So Matthew, I'll go ahead and turn it back over to you.
Well, great work, Dave, and thank you so much. I warned everybody, put those seatbelts on. A lot of information in that demo. Very, very thorough, covering all of our technical product set, all the way from getting the data from SAP all the way to Synapse, organizing those data marts and showing it to you in a visual dashboard in Power BI. Very powerful stuff. Thanks again, Dave. So with that, I'd like to wrap it up. On behalf of Qlik, I'd like to thank everybody for their time today. Again, my name is Matt Hayes. Co-presenting with me today was Dave Freriks with the demonstration. And also not presenting on the webinar today was Kevin Pardue. But Kevin Pardue manages the strategic technical partnership between Qlik and Microsoft. So here's the links to not only all of our emails, so you can reach out to us individually, but also our LinkedIn profiles if you'd like to connect with us on LinkedIn. And on behalf of ASUG, thank you very much. These sessions are valuable, the community is extremely valuable, and having a platform where we can collaborate on ideas is critical, especially at this time. So please provide feedback regarding the webcast and stay engaged with ASUG. We look forward to seeing you next year.